Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and you can reach me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com or at my website, DavidisinFlorida.com. Every week, we take a look at the real estate market, focusing on the Villages real estate market. If you watch the show, you'll have a very good idea as to the differences in price and size between the different regions of the villages. And you'll also get some long-term perspective on what listing prices, prices per square foot, things of that sort, what the long-term trends are. If you're looking to buy a home in the villages, please consider using our research. We really can delve more into listings, comparing them to pending home sales, homes that closed recently, and we can show you on a map exactly, which properties would be most indicative of the value of the property you're considering. Similarly, if you are selling your home, we can show you the data to justify the highest listing price that we think you could get in a reasonable period of time. So, with that out of the way, there are a couple of things to note. First, we produce the show every Monday. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. Secondly, all of this information is drawn from the multiple listing service. It does not include any listings from the village's own internal listing service, the VLS. For that reason, if you're a buyer, you really need to have an agent who can show you VLS properties and an agent who can show you MLS properties. I will be willing to show you both if you're interested in comparing VLS versus MLS properties. Please reach out to me, DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'd also like to mention that we're always adding new material to our website. Please visit, communicate with us, and if you find this information on this YouTube channel useful, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. We're going to start this week by very briefly touching on what happened over the weekend. You may have heard that the real estate market has been thrown into a bit of turmoil by a proposed settlement from the National Association of Realtors. I did do a show on this topic on Friday when the settlement was announced. The settlement is not in effect at this point. It's just proposed. Hopefully, the judge will approve it. But if you want more detail on what this means for real estate and commissions, please take a look at that show. Hopefully, you'll find information interesting there. Also, if you would, please comment below as to what your intentions are going forward if you are a seller or if you are a buyer. Are you prepared to offer the buyer's agent money? Are you prepared as a buyer to pay your agent directly? And if so, what percentage or fee seems reasonable? I really welcome any interaction we can get on this point. It's pretty much up in the air as of now. But we're going to put all of that behind us for now. If you want more detail, please refer to that show from Friday, which I will link to at the end of this video and also in the description. But let's start now by taking a look at what's happening this week. We start every week by examining interest rates. We think interest rates ultimately drive real estate values since the majority of real estate is financed. What you're looking at here is the yield on the government 10-year note. This goes back to early 2020, 4 years ago, when the yield on the 10-year note was 0.4%, 0.398 to be exact. Towards the end of last year, it got up to over or right at 5%, dropped back to 3.8. We're currently back at almost 4.5%, and it's anybody's guess whether we're headed higher or lower from here. With the increasing costs of home ownership, with insurance, taxes, and other unexpected increases, it's hard to imagine real estate prices can sustain these current levels if rates head higher. So now let's look at the villages specifically, and what you're looking at here is a map of the villages area. The map is showing you a circle for every single active listing on the MLS. The size of the circle indicates the size of the property, and the color of the circle indicates its price per square foot. I'm going to break the villages down into 4 areas, which I'm going to call the north, the middle south, and the south, and I'll show you listings in each of those. You can get a better idea as to what I'm talking about. Here's a more in-depth look at the area that I'm calling the north. The northern boundary is Highway 42 and the southern boundary is Highway 466. There are 5 different scales of size, so even the tiniest dots that you see there are the smaller houses and the larger dots are larger houses. The scale is exaggerated for effect, but what you're looking at here is every single active listing on the MLS. Size of the dot represents the size of the home, and the color represents the price per square foot. The more expensive per square foot, the brighter the circle. This is the area that I'm calling the Mid-North. The northern boundary is Highway 466, and the southern boundary is Highway 466A. Once again, you're looking at active listings. This is the area I'm calling the Mid-South. Once again, active listings, and we're looking at the area where the northern boundary is Highway 466A and the southern boundary is Highway 44. And this is the area that I'm calling the South, which is everything south of Highway 44. I would like to point out that if you are interested in buying in this area, you really should be looking at every property available both on VLS and on MLS. I think VLS has more properties available in the South than MLS, but in either case, I think it's important always to evaluate all the choices you have. So we'll start by taking a look at a long-term chart showing us the number of active listings in the villages. This week it's 388. Last week it was 381, and the same week a year ago was 363. I might mention that 388 listings is the highest I've recorded. When we started this channel 2 years ago, on the 4th of April, the number of listings was only 108. So this is almost 4 times as many listings. Homes for sale in the villages currently range from 122,500 to 1,650,000. I should point out for those interested, the house that's being offered currently at 122,500 was originally, I believe, $175,000. We're going to stick with long-term charts for a while, give you a perspective on how things are developing here. What we're looking at are median listing price per square foot for all listings in the villages. This week, 259.35, up slightly from the 258.62 of the week before, and about the same as the 261.89 of the same week a year ago. This is an interesting long-term chart giving us some perspective on how enthusiastic buyers and sellers are. This is the median time on the market for all listings, which this week is 42 days, slightly worse than the 40 days of the previous week. So now we'll take a look at the differences between the different regions of the villages. As I described earlier, I've broken them down into north, middle south, and south. What you're looking at here is the total number of listings, the median size of the properties in each of the areas, and the median price for the properties in the areas. So for example, for the villages as a whole, I'm showing 387 total listings, median price of 385,000. In the north, there are 192 active listings. In the south, 34. I'm going to quickly show you the same data in 2 different formats, give you different perspectives on it. Once again, we're looking at the number of listings. All regions is all regions of the villages, north, middle, south, and south. You can get some idea as to what price segments homes are being offered at in the different regions of the villages. One more look at the same data. Here we're looking at all listings in all regions of the villages segmented by price. So for example, in the most active price segment, the longest bar at the top, the $300,000 to $400,000 range, there are 10 homes offered for sale in that price range in the Mid-South, 38 in the Mid-North, 96 in the North, and only 10 in the South. So now we'll take a look at what actually happened last week, which is how many new listings were added and how many homes went pending. Last week, the numbers were identical, 55 new listings and 55 homes went pending. A year ago, 50 new listings and 43 homes going pending. The graph is showing you new listings as the red line and black is the homes going pending. Obviously, more new listings than homes going pending means that the market is seeing increased supply, and that one would think would cause it to weaken. We've been following this chart for some time. This is basically the difference between new listings and homes going pending. The idea here is that positive numbers represent more homes going pending than being listed, and negative numbers represent more homes being listed than going pending. We're going to take a more in-depth look both at pending home sales and homes that closed. Let's start by looking at the homes that went pending last week. They went pending at a median price per square foot of $250.23, down from the $254.75, and noticeably down from the $259.08 for the homes that went pending a year ago. Here we take a look at what the price change was for the homes that went pending. Did they reduce their asking price from the original list price, for example? And last week saw an improvement. The median price change for the homes that went pending was a reduction of 4.56%, an improvement from the 6.16% of the previous week, and improving from the 5.25% that was the median reduction for pending home sales a year ago. I thought this might be interesting. I've broken down the four regions of the villages, and this is everything that either went pending or closed over the last 60 days. You're looking at how many, 479 total in the villages. The median size of all of those properties was 1,539 square feet, and the median price was 380. In the north, the median price for the 231 properties that either went pending or sold was 345. In the south, the median price for the 40 that either went pending or sold was 410,000. There are some interesting points to note about this chart. Here we're looking at how many sales there were, i.e. how many properties sold and closed over the last 7 days. 36, identical to the previous week, and almost twice as many as closed the same week a year ago. Prices for the homes that closed ranged from 230,000 to 2.4 million. But the interesting point is that the house that sold for 230,000 was originally 305,000. This is almost 25% discount. And the house, for those of you who care, the house that sold for 2.4 was originally listed for 2,695. Our last look at sales. This is the median price per square foot for the homes that closed last week. 253 a foot, down from the 259 of the previous week. The graph is showing you a 4-week average. The numbers you're seeing are actual weekly data points. The 253 a square foot for the homes that closed is down from the 259 of the previous week, but far better than the 227 a foot of the same week a year ago. That is this week's look at the Villages real estate market. If you have questions about the recent National Association of Realtors ruling, if you have any questions about buying in the Villages, you'd like some research done to determine a good competitive bid for a house you're interested in, or you're looking to sell your home and you're trying to maximize your return in a reasonable period of time, please reach out to me either at DavidisinFlorida.com or at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you answer any questions, research any property you're interested in, and help you any way I can. Hope to hear from you. Take care.